Okay, we are being recorded. Please start.
Excellent. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. ALC is trying to add some educational type of seminars and things like that to our repertoire, as they call it, and not just meet and greets and things like that. So we wanted to do an educational workshop. Donna with Kali Logistics is going to do a presentation on the air cargo community system and talk a little bit about how it works, how it benefits basically the entire community. And hopefully at some point we'll be able to do this across the board, and everybody will be participating in this so that it'll be more efficient for freight coming in and out of Atlanta air freight. So with that, thank you again, everybody. Donna, thank you for your time, and I'll turn it over to you.
Great. Thank you very much, Chris, and thank you to the Atlanta Logistics Connection for giving me the opportunity to share the information about today's Fast Pass that we have set up over at Swissport. So again, thanks to the Atlanta Logistics Connection, all the board members and the members of the community. I'm Donna Mullins. This is just a snip of me. It's just really to tell you how old I am. I've been around since probably the first cargo airplane landed here in Atlanta. I am very active with my community, with the international trade and logistics community, because I love it. It's in my heart. I bleed transportation. So I enjoy being very connected through different advisory boards and being the chair of different association committees that enables me to be able to interact with the trade and logistics community so that I can help bring educational solutions and resources to the community. Today, we're specifically going to review Kali's Fast Pass that we have implemented at Swissport. Now, we have set up the cargo community system, and very recently we have opened up the mobile app solution for geofencing, where that you can actually avoid going to the marshaling yard completely if you are a trucker and you are participating in the ACS. So what I'd like to do first is just give some overview statistics of what we have going on with Swissport here in Atlanta. There has been a marginal increase from April to June. We see a little dip in May, but then an increase of shipments over to 295 shipments processed in June. The dwell time did increase a little bit in June because some of that had to do with staging of the cargo. As we know, there were a lot of charter flights that came into Atlanta very recently and ties up a lot of space. So we did have a little extra dwell time for the trucker, but we are still at 98 minutes, which is a great reduction to the 183 we started at. And one of the greatest things that we like to point out is that the average waiting time, if you are in the ACS system participating, is 42.5 minutes waiting time at the marshaling yard. Now, if you are using the mobile app, your waiting time is virtually nil because you automatically get an SMS message sending an SMS message advising the driver what dock to go to, and it's automatically assigned through the artificial intelligence application. But if you're using the system and you're waiting over at the marshaling yard, you're looking at an average of 42 minutes. We're hearing right now that the average in Atlanta waiting time is anywhere from 4 to 8 hours at the marshaling yard. So if you could cut it to 42 minutes, it would benefit the trucker, it would benefit the forwarder broker, it would benefit the shipper and the consignee, and it would benefit the ground handler as well because they won't have so much of a backlog trying to service. They have appointment times so that they can actually service trucks at an appointed time. We did see an increase in Building A. The system is set up at Swissport, both Building A and Building D. The red line shows the airway bill ship count, and the blue line shows the vehicle token count. The system allows for the trucker to set an appointment at the GHA, and then the trucker can assign as many shipments as they want to that particular vehicle token. So if, for example, you've got 27 airway bills that you need to pick up from various different forwarders, the trucker can put all of those on the one vehicle token and send the information over to the ground handler, book the slot for a certain time. And so that's why you will see that there is a difference in the number of the vehicle tokens versus the number of airway bill shipments. And this one, this is building D. Building D is more active building for us. There were 29 vehicle tokens generated in June that contained 187 airway bills. Exports, we're starting to see a uptick in the truckers using the system for exports as well as imports. Initially, imports was the biggest thing, trying to get the cargo scheduled for an appointment. But now we're seeing that truckers are starting to realize that having a guaranteed appointment at the ground handler, regardless of whether you're dropping off or picking up, is certainly a benefit to your operation. So we are starting to see some more exports kicking in right now. The average dwell time when we started in November 2020 with the implementation over at Swissport, we were looking at 283-minute dwell time, and we are down to right now an 84.3 dwell time. This is at Building A. In Building D, we have staggered up and down. Some of this has to do with change of staff, with the dock out process being skipped momentarily, and the system will generate data based on whatever is entered into it. So if the truck docks in and they are processed and the truck leaves, but the truck doesn't get docked out, then the clock keeps ticking. We have tried to remove any of those scenarios where there was not a dock out situation. So we've got some mandatory things in place now for Swissport to be able to properly utilize the dock in, dock out. And then that way it also shows that that dock is now available for the next truck coming in. Some of the active organizations that we have our elite members. Our elite members are DBA, Greer, and Southeastern Freight Lines. This is in in alphabetical order, not in any other order than that. These are the three truckers that right now we are seeing utilize the system tremendously. And we have been told by several of them that it has absolutely cut their wait times at the marshaling yard. It has cut their dwell times at Swissport. And in doing so, it has saved them driver labor costs. So anytime that your truck driver is in motion, you're not wasting his time or his money. Or her, let me be politically correct, because we do have a lot of lady truck drivers, and thank you very much for doing that. So we have our pro members. These are members that have logged on and have started to dabble a little bit in the system, but aren't actually using them as an elite process. We do have the one GHA. I would love to see some other GHAs on board. Won't call any of them out, but any of those airlines or ground handlers that are not utilizing the system and you find yourself waiting, please have them get in touch with me. I would be happy to talk with them and share with them how we could make some benefits over at their facilities as well. The real thing that we're doing here today is a trucker FAQ. The truckers are always asking us, what's in it for me? Tell me about the system. So I tried to put together a little slide today where that we could really talk about, an FAQ standpoint from the trucker and what is in it for the trucker. So why is an ACS needed at all? For truckers, it will help you comply with your FMCSA hours of service rules. When you have a driver that is sitting at the marshaling yard for 6 or 7 hours, that HOS is ticking, that clock is ticking, and those are hours that can't be given back to the driver. So you may find the situation where the driver uses up all of their hours of service picking up the shipment and can't even get it back to your terminal because they don't have the hours left. Or they do get it back to your terminal, but then they can't take any more business. They can't take any more drives because their log's full. It does help to reduce congestion. We have seen an absolute improvement in the dwell times and the congestion over at Swissport by the utilization of this. Better security, the system has the ability to contain 4 ARs, authorized representatives, and that's what a trucker is to an indirect air carrier, a freight forwarder who tenders cargo to the airline. The STA information can be contained, and the STA is the security threat information, can be contained and housed in the system, connected to a particular driver, so that is an automatic advance notice to the GHA coming over that this is indeed a valid AR. It provides stakeholder visibility. There are milestones that are within the system so that anyone who is participating and has authority to see the data can see when the shipment was generated, can see when the truck checked in at the yard, or if they're using the mobile app bypassing the yard, then it will show when they were checked in through the geofencing process, when the truck docked in over at the GHA. There's ability also to immediately see a warehouse acceptance or POD as a milestone, and then when the truck docked out. This helps the truckers to be able to manage their fleet better, and this helps freight forwarders and customs brokers to know, hey, my shipment was either picked up or it was dropped off timely, or it wasn't, it was rejected. There is a ability and functionality within the ACS that if there's damage at the ground handler, a picture can be taken and uploaded showing that there was damage. The shipments can be fully rejected, partially rejected, fully accepted, partially accepted, depending on the condition of the cargo. So if you've got a split shipment, and if a broker has a split shipment and the trucker is going over to pick up 30 pieces and only 10 are available, the system has the ability to contain the fact that the 10 were picked up and that 20 are still waiting to be picked up. It also just helps to give preload cargo advance and trying to comply with the UN 33 recommendation. That's the trade facilitation recommendation by the United Nations that really initiated the single window that us customs brokers and freight forwarders know that we communicate with the government now, called the ACE, the Automated Commercial Environment. The trade facilitation took the initiative to say, governments, you need to get into the electronic communication world with your stakeholders, and that is like level 2. This particular system, ACS, kind of takes us to the level 3 of the UN recommendation, which then starts to connect those stakeholders electronically on the land side as well as on the international side. What does an ACS do for a trucker? It actually, helps to create a digital infrastructure. We know that infrastructure, physical infrastructure in Atlanta is somewhat daunting when you're trying to work around it, and you do end up having to wait over at the marshaling yard, which is a physical infrastructure place for trucks to wait. But utilizing the ACS and the mobile application that we have implemented, you don't even have to go to the marshaling yard. So therefore, the trucker has the ability to take what is constrained physical infrastructure, use digital infrastructure, and then have a benefit from the use. So it does keep the trucker from even going into the marshaling yard at all. You completely bypass it. There are various milestones again. The trucker has the ability to use their mobile app for QR code scanning of the information, so it reduces the paper if you're needing to take a delivery order over to the ground handler to pick up cargo. The freight forwarder can upload the delivery order into the e-docket portion of the system, and it eliminates the trucker even having to take paper at all. Everything is contained in the cloud in the e-docket and is visible to the trucker, the forwarder, and the ground handler. Again, we do have the geofencing. We have very much seen an enhanced use of that because it does enable the trucker to be able to get within a certain vicinity of the Swissport warehouse and then immediately get an SMS text message that says, please go to dock number, whatever dock number may be available. What's in it for me as a trucker? I've outlined 23 different cases here, and some of them I will just go over very, very much so. It gives the trucker a competitive edge. If the trucker is utilizing this system, and depending on how many drivers you send over to the airport to pick up cargo at Swissport on a daily basis, think of the fact that you would be able to cut 5 hours of time from every driver. That is a competitive edge so that you have the opportunity to sell to your customer the guaranteed, so to speak, pick up and drop off time. It gives the trucker the ability to tell their customers, I know that I am going to have a dock appointment at a certain time at Swissport, so therefore I'm not going to have to charge you, let's say, $1,300 wait time over at the marshaling yard. It's a complete hosting system in the cloud, no physical setup of hard equipment is required. As long as you've got a computer, an iPad, or a phone, then this system is accessible by all stakeholders. It reduced wasted truck trips because the trucker has the ability to see whether there is a customs release or not that is generated by the freight forwarder. Many times freight forwarders, when they are dispatching, and I'm guilty of this because I'm a recovering customs broker myself, Many times what we will do is we will dispatch to the trucker for their 3 o'clock sweep that they're doing up at the airport, a shipment that we just entered today and did not get a release on yet, but we're praying that the release drops before the truck gets there. In the system, we require that a customs release and a payment type is mandatory to be entered in there. Now, it is on the honest of the freight forwarder and the customs broker to make sure that when they're entering that information, it is indeed valid information, and that by putting in customs release reference information, the shipment is indeed released. Now, I'm very proud to say that just this month, Kali Info Solutions established our VPN tunnel connection with Customs and Border Protection. We are going through our CERT process now, which means that once this information, this data information is contained within the system, the system will pull down complete customs authorization move information. So if the shipment was released on a general this morning by a 1C, but then all of a sudden it was turned into an intensive examination and the 1C was withdrawn from the system, then truckers would be able to see that the 1C was initially given this morning, but that it was withdrawn, and they could remove that shipment from their vehicle token or their potential truck going over today and know that there's no reason to even try to attempt to pick up that shipment. It does reduce wait times. It gives the trucker the ability to efficiently manage their fleet, because with the mobile app, truckers, dispatchers sitting can watch in real time the movement of a vehicle. Where is the vehicle? Has it checked in? Has it not checked in? When did it check in? When did it check out? And this does help from a management standpoint, the trucker be able to utilize those resources better of their equipment. It helps, excuse me, and real-time resource allotment as well. Better communication and better customer satisfaction. We have received several accolades from the truckers that are currently using it, saying it really does help my customer to be able to know that I have a guaranteed time that I'm going to pick up their shipment. It gives the customer a lot more trust, the forwarder or broker, a lot more trust in their trucker, because they know their trucker is going to be getting some guaranteed pickup times. The system does allow for multiple GHA pickups and drop-offs. Again, we do only have it at Swissport, but if you're going to Swissport A and Swissport D, then the system allows for you to be able to contain vehicle token information for both of those facilities. The shipment data can be received and shared electronically. Once this shipment information has been entered into the system, anyone who has authority shares that same data. It's sort of like a blockchain concept where that data is entered. And the blockchain concept moves along as well, so that certain data, depending on the entity who entered that data, has the authority to delete it, edit it, or change it, but another entity may not have the authority to delete, edit, or change. So it does make sure that the data that is being entered is secure and stays maintained, and the quality of the data does not get lost. It gives truckers the ability to look at dashboards and reports for peak hours and times. They can see the types of commodities that are being moved through their trucks, the pieces and weight. And I know many of the truckers already have these types of certain reports that they can see, but this also ties it down to a customer level, a shipment level, and an hour time level, so that it does give the trucker the ability to review their drivers' dwell times and whether they dwell longer at the terminal in the morning or the afternoon or the evening. And so it really does give the trucker the ability to take a look at data analytics that are being generated through the system on shipments that they're handling. And I started with the word competitive edge, and I will leave with the word competitive edge. Processing your shipments through the electronic interchange definitely gives you a competitive edge. You don't have to worry about losing the paperwork. Oh gosh, the paperwork flew out the window or whatever. So it helps to reduce redundant keying. It helps to reduce the exchange of information in a secured Azure cloud area. And so it does definitely give a competitive edge to the truckers who are utilizing the system. Why is the trucker participation necessary? Well, the truckers are important stakeholders. I just had the honor of presenting to Ground Handlers International Cargo Connect conference earlier this week, where we talked about how the supply chain works so closely together with our ground handlers. Our truckers and our ground handlers, although they do not exchange payment information generally with each other, the ground handler doesn't pay the trucker doesn't pay the ground handler. We are absolutely partners in this supply chain. And so it does help the trucker to be able to have more efficiencies in moving the cargo to and from the airport. If the trucker has their own internal system, do they have to make any changes? Absolutely not. Through artificial intelligence, machine learning, and the Internet of Things, and all of those other techno words that we could think of right now, the ACS that we have designed absolutely connects using APIs with any in-house built system already, whether it's the GHA system, the customs broker freight forwarder system, or the trucker system. We have the ability to communicate through APIs in many of the systems. How much does it cost? Well, many of you may remember if you were on the ground floor in the steering meetings back, way back when was that? November 2019, I think, when we first started talking about ACS, it was free. It was free during the proof of concept. So anyone who signed up and started using the ACS during that free proof of concept period is utilizing it for free. However, we have passed the proof of concept and we understand and know that there are guaranteed and quantified benefits using the ACS. So the proof is in the pudding, and the pudding costs $25 registration and $100 per month for recurring fee. So we did take a long look at this as far as pricing, and we thought that this was a fair price for the amount of benefits that are received by the truckers. So what do you do to get started? You can contact me, Donna Mullins, or you can contact Shrita Copening. Here's information for both of us, and we will be happy to get you onboarded and start receiving these benefits that some of your elite partners and colleagues are receiving. Just a quick overlook of what an ACS looks like. It is a corridor connector. What it does is it absolutely connects different stakeholders. Here's a list of benefits that the forwarders have, from assigning the truck to advanced shipment information they can send to the ground handler. The truckers generating the vehicle token and doing electronic bills and delivery orders. The airline's ability from e-booking to airway bill stock dissemination. And the GHA, and I have the GHA in the middle because they are in the middle. Again, even though the truckers and the customs brokers and forwarders don't customarily pay the GHAs, we are very much connected and we are very much in the same supply chain and service partners to each other. So the ACS actually connects all of these various different stakeholders and puts their information into an electronic cloud where that we all can view and share real-time data and real-time statistics of what is going on. With that, I would like to say thank you very much, and I would be happy to entertain any questions that anyone may have. But before I go, I do want to just thank my friends over at Atlanta Logistics Connection again. And in the spirit of knowing that this is a lunchtime meeting and many of you probably are out enjoying your lunch, I want to just remind you, please, there's a party next month. Don't forget to come out to the Atlanta Logistics Connection pool party. So again, thank you all very much. I appreciate your time, and I'll be happy to entertain any questions you may have.
Donna, that's a big pool party. 1 to 6.
Hey, it was on your website, man.
I think we might need to change the time on that. Jessica, I don't know if you're still on here, but we might need to look into changing that time. I think it's going to be more like 5:30 to whenever, but we'll finalize that.
Okay. I thought maybe y'all had decided what the hell, you're just gonna take the day off and party. I was gonna be with
Yeah,
you.
I mean,
I actually think that might be an old event, so we need to look and see about that.
we'll update the website. But Donna, thank you very much for doing that. You know, like I said at the beginning, we really need to do a better job at ALC of being more of a educational type organization. We say that we are, and we do some of that stuff, but I think we need to do a little bit more of it. So we'll maybe hitting you up for additional presentations in the future. So thank you again for doing that, and thank you everybody who's participated.
Yes, thank you. I do have a question for any of my truckers out there. How many of you have been affected negatively or positively by the ICAO mandate that dropped on all cargo carriers on 7/1? I have any truckers or forwarders out there that would like to share any information? I know that in our NCB FAA Air Freight Subcommittee, we had several of our forwarders who were saying that they were getting incorrect rejects from airlines.
Donna, I don't think we've been affected. Southeastern's been affected by it.
That's great. That's real good to know. Okay. Well, again, thank you all very much. I appreciate your time today. Apologize, my phone's ringing.
You got work to do.
You can snip that one out, Jessica.
No problem.
Yes. So thank you all for your time today. I do appreciate it. And since there are no more questions, in the interest of the fact that we're all busy, I guess you get 29 minutes of your life back.
Much needed.
So much,
Thank you, Donna.
This was
Appreciate
great.
it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Y'all have a great day.
Thanks, Hannah. You too.
All right. Bye-bye.